They know the responsibility of the business over the period of time. Now that's why they have something called labor welfare officers. I'll hire you when I want and I'll fire you when I don't want to. In the 21st century, now business has always come with the updating their own skills and analytical and statistics. Again, it is a problem for them, that is they need to go for more technology, and the technology will lead to more expenses. Hello everybody, a warm welcome to one and all. I'm Abhilash Chandra from the Department of Business Studies in Vidhyaashram PU College, the Temple of Excellence. Welcome to the session number 4 of Social Responsibility and Business Ethics. I told you that social responsibility is an obligation for the business, but if they feel that it's not just an obligation but it is actually an act which makes the society and the business into a binding factor of a good relationship, then definitely we can have a beautiful living with one another. So here in this social responsibility and business ethics, I've gone with a new topic, that is reality of social responsibility. One should always know that what exactly the social responsibility is, how social responsibility will help the nature at large. So the first reality is what? That is threat of public regulations. See, I told you, if the business corporate think that it is an obligation and they are supposed to do it only because it's an obligation, then it is a wrong practice. They also feel that the pressure of labor movement. So what exactly the pressure of labor movement is, we need to understand it. Impact of consumer conscience. Now here, consciousness, what happens here is the consumer always think that which is a company which is there doing or rendering any services for society, what is the goodwill of a company, all those things will be an impact here. Next we have is development of social standard for business. You need to understand that the social standard and what it helps in the business at large. And then the next one here is development of business education. Development of business education. Now, if you have that concern that the business need to actually get adequate education, that is a common sense, and why the business need to go for a social responsibility, when they get a clarity about it, then only the people will understand that why they are supposed to be responsible enough. Next is relationship between social interest and business interest. See, here there is what? This two-way thing, that is social interest as well as business interest. What happens here is there is a strong relation between both of them. That is, business is incomplete with society and society is incomplete with business, because both of them are independently, they are dependent. When I say independently, they are dependent, that means they are interdependent. Next one here is development of professionals managerial class. So there should be what? Professional managerial classes. When I say this, I mean to say that those days when managers or the owners of the company, what they used to do is their grandfather used to set the business, and then what used to happen was they used to actually go for it. Now what has happened is, now in the education system only we are introducing professionalism. When we introduce professionalism, what happens here is, you need to understand that in the professional course itself, it is said that the societal aspect should be taken care. When the social aspects will be taken care, then in return the business will get a goodwill as well as the environment will be very clean. Nowadays, because of usage of so many resources, the unavoidable pollutions, all those things, what happens is the society is in hazard. Now the business is in hazard. So what happens is all these things we are supposed to take care, and then we are supposed to move forward. So firstly we have threat of public relationship. Then we have the relationship with regulation. Then we have pressure of labor movement. See, labor movement is a very good an interesting topic where you will understand more about labor and their movements, impact of consumer consciousness, development of social standard for business, development of social standard for business, development of business education, relationship between social interest and business interest. There is a relationship between the society and the business as well. And the lastly, we have the professional, that is the managerial class. That means development of professionals. So we'll check one by one what exactly happens here. Now, threat of public regulations. Now, democratically, when we go with it, now when we talk about India as a nation, right, we go with what? Democracy. Now, democratically elected government of today are expected to act as welfare states. What is it? They are supposed to protect the society at large, whereby they have to take care of all section of society. When they are supposed to take care of all sector, what happens is, when we have this society, right, when we have society, they need to also take care about business enterprises. Now, what happens here is, there will be a threat of what? Public regulation. That means it will be a threat from the government, is what the social responsibility always go with. Next one is pressure of labor movement. Over the last century, labor has become far more educated and organized. See, even they know what is that responsibility the government is having over the labor, as well as they know the responsibility of the business over the period of time. Now, that's why they have something called labor welfare officers, labor welfare committee. Now, they know that what is that business need to go with. Next is, this has forced business enterprises to pay due regard to the welfare of the workers. Now, they know that what exactly they need to do. Now, if somebody is working, right, somebody is working, usually what happens is, he knows what should be his wages. We call that as minimum wages. It is there in the Minimum Wages Act. There is a special act called minimum wages rate. Now, even the laborers know that they are educated by the welfare societies and the welfare committee, where they know that what the business need to do to them, right here. So what happens is, instead of following a policy of hire and fire, see, there was a policy called, I'll hire you when I want and I'll fire you when I don't want you. So that policy is what? It is voided. It is no more practice, under which they could deal with workers at their will. But now, because of the policy, hire and fire is no more there. The reason is, laborers are getting everything in the nutshell, and they know what exactly they are able to claim. So these are the things which are the reality of social responsibility. Impact of consumer consciousness. Now, here, development and education, that is development of education and mass media. See, here you need to understand, media plays a very important role. Media plays a very important. The reason is what? The media is the one who gives every updates of the news, right? Updates. Now, when they know that what exactly are happening in and around India, what happens is, everybody, in the sense the consumer to the workers to the employee to anybody, they know that what are their obligation, what are the things they can actually go for. That is the obligations, and have made the consumer conscious of his right and power. See, once they know the right and power, that what they can do it and what exactly they have the command, then it is very useful for them in determining market forces. So the business cannot cheat anybody. So the business cannot cheat. So here, the business or the enterprise cannot cheat them. The reason is, impact of consumer consciousness. Now the consumer is being very conscious about what exactly is happening day to day life, and how the government is going with the regulations, how the company are adapting to it. Now we need to know that 2% of the profit of a company with a turnover of 1000 crores, they are supposed to give 2% of their profit to whom? Social responsibility. We call that as what? CSR, corporate social responsibility. So from where we actually got to know, it's all through the media, through the newspaper, through the television, through the coverage pages, all those things. We got to know that CSR is mandatory in India. Next one here is development of social standard for business. Now there should be a proper development of social standard in a business. You need to understand that from the nomadic life to the barter system to the 21st century, now business has always come with the updating their own skills and analytical and statistics. Now here what happens is business are no longer considered merely money crazy entities which can be allowed to mint money. Try to understand now. Business, earlier we used to say buying and selling of goods and services for the main motive to earn profit on a regular basis. That is all outdated. Now it is all not just a minting machine where the money is being actually printed now. Here what happens is any cost and get away with any kind of business practices. Now you can't practice the business the way you want to. You are supposed to stick on to what? The regulations. Now who are the one who goes with regulations? The government. Now the government will actually go with it. The reason, because it is democratic. So it is all the people. And that's why people are called what? The consumer. And the consumer is the king. So this is what it actually goes with. So these are the things which you are supposed to know. That's why there should be what? Development of social standard for business. Everybody know that what exactly they are supposed to do. Now the business cannot act the way the business was acting before. Now the trend has changed. Now the consumers are the kings in the business. And here what it is, you are supposed to satisfy the consumer. To satisfy the consumer, now you need to come down to the consumer level, or else the consumer will never be satisfied. That is the reason you are supposed to know that. So the next one here we have is development of business education. Development of business education. Now development of business education with its rich content of social responsibility has made more and more people aware of social purposes of the business. Now the business itself knows that what exactly happens is, see, I'll give you an example where you will understand that how the business is actually moving. Now, if proper rain happens, if proper climate is maintained, only then the business can flourish. Now you may have a surprise feeling that, sir, what is the connection between rain and business? The reason being, we need to get proper climatic conditions for the business. Reason I'll tell you. Foreign direct investment. I'll give you an example. Like foreign direct investment. There are the foreign direct investment, that is the investors who actually watch for or they wait for monsoon to come. Now if monsoon will not come in India, or it will be a delay, or it will be like very little, what happens is the business also suffers. Now you can go with any business which with the climatic conditions. Now in monsoon, which are the business which actually happens more? Like you have this umbrella, then you have sweaters, you have raincoat, you have boots, you have so many kind of a thing. It all depends on the season. The same way summer. Now there are few business which are only dependent on those. Now what happens is, to maintain the climatic condition of a country or the world, we need to actually think about society at large. We cannot actually go on polluting the environment. We need to actually maintain the environment. Now there are few cities like Kanpur, Delhi and all the places where you will understand that these cities or these union territories or the states, which I'll be telling you the more example, they are being polluted. The reason being what? Industrialization, right? More and more factories being in that particular thing, more and more motor vehicles in those kind of a thing. That's why the companies and the business entity need to think about the society, and then they are supposed to minimize the carbon monoxide use, so or the emitting of carbon monoxide. When they limit it, what happens is, again, it is a problem for them. That is, they need to go for more technology, and the technology will lead to more expenses. But still, what happens is, if you think more about the society, even the other people who are there, they will also get benefited out of it. Next one is relationship between social interest and business interest. Here what happens is, business enterprises have started realize the fact that social interests and business interests are not contradictory. Instead, these are complementary to each other. Now what happens is, if the society and the business, they work together, what will happen? Try to analyze this. What will happen? Now here, the society and the business, if the business is doing so much charity or so much they are taking care of the society, in return what happens is, society will also think about the goodwill of the company. Say example, the business enterprises have actually given an ad saying that they'll be cleaning this particular area. Now that particular area, people, they'll feel good about the business. So again, they are getting what? Goodwill from the public. So all these things are what? Interdependent. That's why I told you right before, that is, the business and the society, they are all interdependent. Lastly, we have development of professional managerial classes. Here, professional managerial classes means, now all the people who are studying, now they know the reality about society and why we need to actually give our things to the society as well, because they are all learning the modern technique of it, how business should run. Professional managers who have got an altogether different attitude towards social responsibility as compared to the earlier class of owner and manager. The reason is what? Because in their syllabus itself, they have been given. See, I'll give you an example here which you will understand. In our school days, we used to have a subject called science, right? In that, we used to have a subject called environmental studies, EVS, right? Why is that we need to actually study EVS? Because whenever we go with a business or any kind of other job, we should also think about the flora and the fauna and the society at large. That is, we need to clean our surrounding properly. We need to keep everything intact so that other person or the other generation should actually use the benefit of the present situation. But why is that it is declining? There are so many animals which are being extinct or endangered. The reason is what? It's all about the human needs and the greeds. That is what it is all about. So here what happens is, the professionals who are there, they have a total different mindset what the other owner managers used to have. The reason being, in the academic only or in the subject itself, they have introduced few disciplines, few kind of concept which will make them feel that they should protect the society at large. So these are the things which you are supposed to know. So if you have any doubts, students, you need to just call us. We are always there to help you. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next session. Till then, I'll see you when I see you. Thank you.